What is up? What is up? What is up? Davin here again. Food Service Unfiltered for this our fifth podcast. Oh my gosh, time flies when you're winging it as you go. So for those joining us the first time, this podcast is designed to take a glimpse, a look into people's journeys within our food service industry. We're looking for lessons, the creativity, the source, the innovators, disruptors in our industry, which is super exciting. The intention around this podcast is to create that space. Everything is unfiltered. And yes, it's a play on words. And the way we're going to get there, I have no idea. Each podcast, each conversation we have is unscripted, unfiltered. And that's the amazing part of it. Before we get to our guest, and I have to read my notes so I don't forget because structure is a good thing. Um, just had the NAMA show last week, so thank you to all of our friends at NAMA. Had a fantastic time. We're looking forward to the restaurant show coming up, actually starting tonight into the weekend. So it's going to be a blast. Look for me, look for us on the show floor, and we're having a rooftop party on that Monday at the Virgin Hotel. Reach out if you want to join us. And this summer too, we're looking at ANFP, NACUS, etc. And before we get to our guests, one more thing. I talked to my friend Shane Varnum, Jason Wange, Matt Rigney, Danielle Mason, Melanie Mark, and they're all making their way to Chicago. So we welcome them with open arms. So I'm going to bring our guest up and give him an intro. So my second guest, what can I say about this guy? Well, I wrote some notes, and this is what I'm going to say about this guy.
I'm
He's the
impressed that
second.
you have notes.
It's one piece of paper, right? Single space. He is the second funniest MC at the SHFM Hunger Games. I could
Debatable.
say, I can say when he left Airmark, he reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm looking for another opportunity." Um, and I came to our Vivro team and screamed from the mountaintops, we got to hire this guy. He's looking for his next opportunity. And he ended up joining Vivro. The kicker is he ultimately became my boss. And I come from the school of you're not the boss of me. So from day one, it's been really interesting. A lot of harsh words, direct conversations, almost fisticuffs between the two of us. None of that is true. None of that is absolutely true. Um, Bob Kloeckner, welcome. Bob is a calm, trustworthy, collected, kind, loyal servant leader through and through, and I'm thrilled to have him as our fifth guest
Oh,
here
thank you, David.
on Foodservice. Yeah, you bet. Welcome, Bob. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How about you?
I am great. I'm great. To launch, I thought it would be a good idea for the two of us to actually just go through my employee review, and I've taken it upon myself to. Is that too soon?
No,
Is
that's
that
fine.
okay?
Just if you could just bring in HR, that would be great.
Okay, great. It's going to be a short call then, I guess, for me, right?
No, if
Um,
it's your review, we have to have the proper people in the room, right? So,
that is true. That is true. It's only 68 slides and music is involved, so it shouldn't, 5-6 hours for my review. If you're okay with that.
absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, Bob, I love you for that. Before we get started, are you ready for the weekend?
I am. It's going to be obviously a full packed weekend. We got a lot going on. You're talking about the Beyonce concert, right? That you're
Yes,
talking
of
about? Okay.
course.
Yes. Yeah. Ready for the concert.
They.
That'll be fun. No. Yeah. Absolutely ready for the weekend. NRA is always a big showing for us. It's been big ever since I've been in the hospitality industry. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I heard you mention the our rooftop events, which I know we're not here to necessarily plug Vibro, but it's going to be a great function. So it'll be good.
And what's the theme this year, Bob?
We are going with the speakeasy theme. So our marketing team has been hot at work as they usually are. Came up with a speakeasy theme, and our good friends and partners over at the Virgin Hotel have helped us to make sure that the food, the atmosphere, as well as the music all match. And I think we're going to be good. If everybody remembers the theme we had with the '90s party, speakeasy will be just as popular. So.
Bob, I think it's ironic because probably our English teachers didn't think we spoke too easy. So, and now that we're having a party, I think it's full circle where we've
I don't
made.
think that's the intent of what we're looking for with Speakeasy. I think it's more Roaring Twenties, Capone,
Uh,
prohibition type of thing. But that's you go with whatever works for you. That's fine.
I'm literal sometimes, Bob. So, but thank you. Um, so, Bob, I'd really like to start. I know much of your story, and
Mhm.
I'd like to really talk about that. Talk about, if you can, and you really start where you want to. Your origin story of how you came to Vivro. Um, you can start in fourth
How far
grade.
back? Yeah, how far, let's see how far back you want to go.
If you want to go to Miss McCullough's class in third grade, I'm cool with that. But I think you're being a pro. I think you'll know kind of where you want to start.
So I've been working in the hospitality industry ever since I was 15, right? So I started out, it was actually my second job. I had a job when I was earlier at 15, just stocking shelves and stuff like that, but as a busboy,
Huh.
and was kind of hooked ever since. I got in with the right crowd, at the hotel that I was working at, and they kind of mentored me and brought me through. And from there, because of the background I had really with food all around me all my life, right? So especially on my mother's side, the Italian side. So food was all over the place. So it was always brought people together, and that kind of drew me in, right? Exactly to the hospitality industry. And it's one of those industries where if you work hard, it's rewarded. People
Mhm.
allow you to be who you are, and when you find the right crew, as I mentioned, and the right group to help mentor you and bring you along, it means a lot. And from there, um, went to culinary school.
Mm.
And I know it seems kind of weird, and here doing sales for Vivro and went to culinary school, but that's kind of the journey as it is in the hospitality industry, right? People come from all different walks of life, right? So I operated for probably about 17 years in different food service operations, from hotels, restaurants, country clubs, contract food service management, as you mentioned with Airmark, and then got over to the sales side with Airmark, and really never looked back. I've always liked to be in front of people and talking with people, making connections, and whether I was doing that in the back of the house with the kitchen folks, or with the clients that come into the restaurants, or with clients that are looking to procure our services, it seems like it's always been fun. And when it's unnatural, it's forced. And I think it's just nice just to be able to have conversation and honestly sell something that you believe in, right? So food and water,
Mhm.
the only two things I've ever sold. So
That's fantastic, Bob. Would
yeah,
you say those early experiences you had back of house? I heard you say different groups of people, different experiences working as one team. Would you say that has assisted you in your leadership role now? Those experiences you had in your 20s.
yeah. I got some. Well, I got some really good folks that I got to work under as I was coming through the ranks, right? And I think working with those folks and seeing how they do it. So obviously, folks that lead by example, I think is key, and I try to mirror that as well. Treat people as you want to be treated, right? So I think that helps. I also think paying attention and listening to what's going on. Be the person that raises your hand for the jobs that people don't want to do, so you can obtain those skills, make yourself invaluable to whatever team or group that you're working with, and just keep learning. Right, everything is a journey. So
It's a process.
it is.
I I, I love that, Bob. You just I want to stick there on that chef experience, and because I heard you talk about mentors. Were there any early mentors or even mid-career mentors that you've had along the way you can give a shout
Yeah.
out to, and what did you really pull from them as far as their
Yeah,
mentorship?
I doubt he's on because he's usually on dial-up. But Joe Mangold, who's who's over, he was at
This is
Indian
true.
Lakes.
This is true.
It is. He was at Indian Lakes at the time resort, which is a smaller hotel that's probably partially demolished at this point, in the Chicagoland area. From there, I actually met up with him. I worked over there for 5 years, four with Joe. From there, I met up with him at a random event. I think it was the one of the tastes of one of our cities. Yeah, he kind of brought me into Aramark and kind of showed me that you don't necessarily have to work all the nights and weekends and the holidays and all that kind of stuff like that. You can still do what you love and work from Monday through Friday, and still have your weekends and everything yourself. So I think he kind of led by example from an early age, and then from there was many different people within Aramark. So from the Betsy Kleins to Michelle Dyer to Marty
Yeah.
Gorham, working with all of my sales team, Melissa Mercury included, Stephanie who works with us now, including Kyle and everybody else. It's been um it's been a good journey being able to work with those folks.
That's amazing. I'm a believer that no one gets to where they are without mentors and people
Yep.
along the way to either lift them up or walk side by side. So those are great. I'm nodding with Betsy Klein and Marty Gorham and Melissa Mercury. They're all just fantastic
Mhm.
leaders and great people to have in your circle too, Bob. I'm going to stick with
I
cooking
agree.
because you really interested me. Did your parents
Really?
like? Did you grow up in a cooking family? Like, were your parents cooking all the time? I know you were a sous
Yeah.
chef. Like,
So
did you
they
come to
much
it?
much
Yeah,
I was so much like genetics. Sometimes cooking skips a generation. No offense, mom. But my grandmother and my
thank God Mother's Day
uh,
was last week.
already passed, right? But
Yeah,
they my grandparents on my mom's side and like kind of my great aunts and all that group. Those are the ones that were having the events that were cooking and always brought used food to bring people together. That's kind of where I learned it from. I was always by my grandmother by her side when she was doing stuff in the kitchens when they're having events. So I would it's in the family. Maybe wasn't in the direct family, but I think you and I being Gen X, we also had we were the last generation of two working parents, right? So there was reasons for it
yeah.
as well too. So
Yeah, Gen X, we were feral cats running around. Like, oh, jeez,
drinking from the hose,
just
exactly. And
back in
now
my
look at the
day,
water
Bob.
we have, David.
Look at the water we have. Yeah. Can you remember like the hose in the backyard? Like, oh gosh, I've been playing outside for 19 hours. So thirsty. It's been under 110 degrees. You turn on the hose and
Yeah,
fifth degree
especially on a day like
burns.
today, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Still sticking where we are with the cooking, is there anything outside that influences you now in your role, whether it be your past, or is it something just even outside of the industry that influences you or motivates you kind of as a
Hmm.
North Star for you?
I think anytime you've got a operator or a chef background, you're always
Yep.
critiquing whether you do it silently in your own head because people probably get tired of you talking about it, or you actually verbalize whatever you're going. So when you're going to restaurants, you're going to events, whatever the case may be, you're noticing little things that people don't normally pick up on. So I think that's something that continues to this day. I think from an influence standpoint, I would consider myself from a culinary standpoint to be more like an Emeril Lagasse than a Gordon
Ah,
Ramsay. And I say Emeril Lagasse because I think people, they see him, they want to be around him, they talk to him, they trust him. I think he's an easygoing guy, be fun to hang out with. Whereas Gordon, you got to catch him on the right day at the right time, right? You never know
right.
what you're going to get. So now,
That's super fun.
that being said, I have worked for different kinds of chefs within my background. So you learn as much from some folks that do things wrong as they do things right. So just keep that in mind.
Absolutely. Bob, I'm smiling because I've been working with you and friends with you long enough. I've seen you when you go into chef mode, when you're assessing the situation or the room, and I could just see you putting, okay, this needs to go here, this needs to go here, that person needs to do that. So and that's something you learned in your 20s that you're still applying today.
Yep. Yep. I agree.
All right. A natural progression that I see here around culture. So
Hmm.
I heard you talk about the back of the house has a culture, your time at Aramark, here at Vivro too. Um, is culture important? And if it is important, what components make up a healthy, good culture for a company or a group of people?
Yeah, I think culture is definitely important, right? Because if the environment that you create for people to be able to do what they do best is going to show up in the results, in not only the financial results or whatever you're selling or serving or whatever the case may be, but also in what they want to accomplish, right? It's you have to provide the right palette, the right slate, the right area for people to be able to be who they are. I've heard a long time ago too that you hire the right people, you teach them what they need to teach, you give them the tools that they need to be able to perform their task, and then you get the hell out of their way. Right? There's no reason to micromanage people and create a culture where you have to be looking over everybody's shoulders, but at the same time, you have to set clear expectations and make sure that you hold true to whatever organization that you're working for has for their expectations, but also one of the nice things about coming over here and working at Vivro is I had the ability to put my thumbprint on something, right? To have a team and help grow the business and work with different folks not only in North America but throughout the world. And I think that in itself helps create a diverse culture.
Did you go old school thumbprint like our dads used to do, like this? Lick the thumb and or was it just a gentle thumb? Probably the
No, no, no.
latter of the
It
two.
was yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a cliche. I hear it all the time, and it's true. It's like employees. It's how they feel on Sunday night before they go to work on Monday. Like that's a page out of culture. and I have nothing to gain by saying this, Bob, because I won't kiss the
So
ring.
this isn't your review.
Well, it will be eventually. Somebody's going to see it.
Are you
HR
gonna play clips?
client.
Is that what it is? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
No, I can't. But I genuinely like me, Bob. Like it's important for me to be passionate behind something. I absolutely am pumped up. Look forward to going to work on Monday. Because we get to work with a great group of people and do great
Well,
stuff too.
let's unpack that for a little bit, David. So let's think about it. So you have quite a few different roles within Vivro here, right?
Yeah,
And it going back to creating a culture and fit, right? It's this role wasn't here at first, right? So this is something that we
no.
had to create and came a long time in the making, and now it's being enhanced, and you're killing it. So I think it's again, it speaks back to culture, being able to provide the atmosphere for people to be able to do their best work, right?
Well, yeah, and what makes me tick, and I remember, and I've mentioned it a couple of times even on the podcast. You're like, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, dude, I want to create content. I want to be support our sales team in marketing. She's like, well, what do you want the title to be? And I'm like, industry relations. That kind of encompasses everything. And you're like, okay, let's make it happen. And to your point, we had to have an ROI. We had to have a proof in the pudding. It wasn't
Great,
just like go willy nilly and make videos and crack jokes. Like there had to be something behind it. But like
agreed.
that's amazing, Bob. That's super fun. Um, so yeah, I don't. I'll thank you, Bob. I don't. I've thanked you a hundred
Hey,
times already.
thank you for even introducing me. Like I met Vivro through one of the associations, right, through SHFM, and kind of
Yeah,
followed them and liked the group and liked what they were doing and liked the passion and the story and stuff. So it goes both ways.
it does. Speaking of SHFM, Bob,
Hmm.
um, I would love to tell the story how we met at
Sure.
SHFM,
Yeah.
if you're okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So New Orleans, I believe, maybe 8 years ago, 9 years ago, something
At
like
least.
that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was probably 2 years into SHFM, maybe one. And we're at this parking lot in New Orleans. It's about 1,000 degrees, and I'm walking out. We're setting up games, and I see this person in a ref shirt, and I see these water balloon launchers. The ones that you hold up, and the
Hey,
guy
man.
pulls back. Yeah, and I just see this human being pull pull these water balloons out and just start shooting them across the parking lot. And I was like, right there, I was like, oh, Mother Mary in heaven, who is this dude? Who is this guy? This is amazing. And you can see them, but they are hitting like snowballs in the middle of winter across the parking lot. So I start to walk over. I'm like, I got to meet this guy. Like, this is amazing. It's super funny. It's hilarious. And as I'm walking, our friend Betsy Klein, I hear, I'm going to clean it up. Um, but I hear, hey, Kloeckner, quit blanking doing that blank. And I'm like,
I
that
think it
makes,
was her and Russ Benson, because I think
yeah,
one landed quite close to Russ Benson, which I
which
didn't
made
want to ruin his hair. So that's
no,
probably a good call.
no, that's his moneymaker. But
It is.
as they were yelling at you, that made me even move faster because I'm like, okay, this guy is not only shooting water balloons, he's kind of messing with people. So I had to. In my mind's eye, and maybe I'm elaborating for the sake of elaborating. I feel like I came up to you and said, "Hi, my name's Davin Wickstrom. Will you be my friend?"
I that's verbatim, more or less exactly what you said. Yeah.
And you're like, yes. So it really was a scene out of Step Brothers. We're like, did we just become best friends? And we're like, yes, we did.
If you remember, in that parking lot, it was gigantic. It was right outside was it the Superdome?
Yep.
Yeah, it's right outside the Superdome. There's a lot of room for activities. So there's the Hunger Games and everything was going on. There was so much room for activities. So it was great.
Uh,
We had a great
Bob,
time.
I've Step
And we
Brothers
raised
is our
money for great causes, as we
oh,
always do.
and Step Brothers is our love language. It really is. It's we represent. You bring up a good point, Bob, and we'll get into the nuts and bolts of Hunger Games. But talk to me the importance of the charitable groups,
Mm.
SHFM. For those don't know, check out Hunger Games SHFM. Great story. But for you, Bob, why is it important to have those charitable partners, and how does it resonate with you?
Well, I think it starts going back to mentors and people that give you the stage to kind of step up and step into the spotlight. So that goes to Mike Johnson and Shane Varnum, right? Because they used
Yep.
to they were one of the ones that started Hunger Games along with Barb King and everybody else that did the original walks and such. but they allowed us to step into that limelight, right, and kind of be goofs and have fun, but also to your point, raise money for folks that are in need, and but do it in a way that makes sense for us because it's who we are and the way we do things, but also benefits those in need. So I think that's for everybody, and no pun intended because you just took a drink, but it helps fill your cup and get to be where he I see you did it again. It gets to be gives you that peace of mind that you're able to kind of give back and help out folks through the hospitality industry, right? Working with people and collaborating with people, networking with people that help also make a difference. So
Yeah, it's easy to carry on and have a great time. I know you're a good Catholic boy. I'm a good Methodist boy. And our origin is we grew up like we know the importance of giving back. So
we do.
behind all
And
the
now we have the Pope on our side since he's from Chicago, David. So I mean that's
Bears,
Bears.
Bears Pope, Dicka, George Hallis, Bears.
Yes.
Um, and that does mean that the Cubs are winning the World Series and the Sox will lose 134 games straight. So
Yes.
fingers crossed. Sorry, Sox
Bears.
fans. Not sorry, Bears.
Schedule was released yesterday. Make sure you pay attention to Bears schedule.
Okay, Bears. Okay, I will. Hopefully, we'll get on Bears to a game. So like, talk to me too, because we've been. I don't know how long we've been emceeing. 3 or 4, 5, 6. I don't even know.
It might be
five
5 or
years.
6. Yeah.
Wow.
Some may say
Um,
too long, David. But either way,
yeah,
we'll give it another go.
I wouldn't argue with them. I'm a bit much, and I mean you're good, but I'm a bit much. I'm tired of listening to me, so I get it. Um, but talk to you like, let's go back to when Shane and Mike came to us and said, "Hey, like let's start there." Like, what was your response, and like what went through your mind when they pretty much tapped us on the shoulder and said,
Yeah.
"Hey, guys,
So Shane said that he wanted to spend more time fishing, as he
okay,
does, and Mike at the time couldn't find his multivitamin. So I think because no, I'm just kidding. So they came up with this. I love you both.
love you guys."
they
That's true. Poor Mike.
they they came up to us, and again in true leadership fashion, being the strong characters that they are, right? They asked us if we want to kind of take it to the next generation, and it's still incumbent upon us to make sure that we try to help SHFM figure out who's next because it can't always be us, right? And I totally get that. And by the way, if
Yep.
you're interested, let us know.
Yep.
But they came to us and they gave us the opportunity, right? And I think it's great. It's great. It's great not only to be able to host it and to have fun with a whole bunch of your friends from the industry that you've seen from whether it's past careers or different areas of what you've covered, but also at any time you see those folks go up on stage and get that big check and you
Yep.
realize the impact you're going to have on their not only on their business for what they're able to do for other people, but then you see the impact of what it does for the end results for the end users. That's huge.
Yeah, like even being the years we've supported groups that support children who are hungry, like we're both fathers. Like, could you imagine your kids have not gone a day without being hungry? My
No, they would tell you
mate,
otherwise sometimes, but yeah,
yes,
no, they haven't.
right. Call DCFS. And you bring up a great point that, like, yeah, that hits home. That's real. And what you do unto me, what you do unto the least of me, you do unto me. I always misquote Bible
Mhm.
quotes, but it really is that. And I would say that that grounds us from where we go to our silliness and fun. It's how do we help others? I would say when Shane and Mike asked me, I felt like I said yes before they even got the whole question out. Like, would you? Yep, yep, love to. What are we doing? Um, which is usually my response. The funny part is we got tapped and then COVID hit. So
Yep.
our first Hunger Games was COVID. Um,
It's what's funny is that we got a lot of we did that blind, by the way, and I don't know if anybody who was on that stream when we were doing it, but we did that blind, and it's kind of like this right now, right? I'm sure there's people on watching, hopefully, but they were making comments and we couldn't see their comments and all different kinds of stuff like that. But it was kind of like a podcast where we were just having fun and people were playing games and we were commenting, and it was is I think it was Janine Cosgrove that always said, right, we're like the two guys from the Muppets sitting up in the theater in the balcony making comments, right? So
true.
that's kind of what it was. But it was again, we took what we had and we made the best we could with it, and we still benefited folks, even though we weren't able to get together live and in person.
Yeah.
So
I really feel like one of us is Tom Brady, the other guy's Randy Moss, and it's when quarterbacks just give a hand signal,
True.
I that is us, and
I
a
think
lot
you've
of
got the speed, so I'll give you the Randy Moss.
speed to what? Like, speed to naps, you bet. Yeah, yeah. I'm more of a Winnebago. I'm built for comfort. I'm not for speed. So
Well
steady.
said.
Yeah. Um, and the funny part too, Bob, like when we're doing that, we're doing Hunger Games. Really, my whole single goal is to make you laugh. That is my goal for everything. So if I can get you to chuckle a little bit, I'm doing my job for you.
The reality of the situation is that we're there to provide comic relief to make sure everybody has a good time, is able to have provide the stage for everybody to be able to network,
Yep.
but then also make sure that we're driving money back towards that charity, right? For the real
Yep.
reason why we're there. So
It really is. It really is for the children, and that's why we do it. Which,
that's also your catchphrase.
yeah, yeah, that is my yeah. Thinking of getting
Speaking of which,
shirts.
we're going back to Palm Springs, right? That's
Oh yeah.
one of the first times we ever had shirts as a group.
Oh, that is right.
Yes,
That's I can say
it
this super freaks. Yeah.
was the Super Freaks, right? Those powder blue shirts.
Yeah. What Brittany Thomas, Danielle Mason, Becky Smith, Janine Cosgrove Albert, Amy Lewis. I know I'm forgetting somebody, but and then us.
It was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Would you take that Hunger Games experience? Has that helped you professionally, Bob?
Help me. I'm sure it has. I mean, I think it helps get exposure not only for who we are and what we do, right, over here at Vivro, but I think it also just helps the connections because anytime you put yourself out there and get in front of a microphone and start talking to folks, people recognize you, right? So I'm sure it has, but I think you don't. Those are one of the things that you it's an added bonus. The real
Yeah.
driver of it is just to make sure that we're helping folks in need and doing it through the industry that we love, right? So
Yeah, and Bob, this could be self-indulgent that we keep talking about this because we're part of it, but that's fine because that's not where we're coming from. You bring up a really good point, and I'm just going to stay here, Bob, because I think it's important. Our base and our core is helping others. So from that, anything that comes positive out of that is, to me, it's more genuine and real versus if we just wanted a microphone and everyone to look at us and we're the funny guy, we're the highlight. It's never about that. It's always about the children, our community, SHFM. That's my take. What are your thoughts?
I completely agree. Everything else is going to come, right? I think it's just a matter of do you have the right, whether it's moral compass or base or whatever you want to call it, is
Yep.
that set straight? Because once that's set straight, then everything else falls into place. So I agree with
Yep.
you.
How is your moral compass?
It's doing well. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. I hope yours as well.
So that's Bob's tell when he doesn't want to talk something, or he's like, "Bro, you're no, no, no. We're gonna." I
I don't
know
know what
your
to do
moral.
with that one. I took it. I was juggling it. I'm like,
I
I don't know where he's going.
Your moral compass is fantastic. I can vouch for the guy. He's good like that. Just do a little pivot here, Bob, because I'm interested. Is there anyone in the industry, and I know you've talked about people that you follow, whether it's on LinkedIn or that you're liking what they're
Hmm.
doing? It could be anybody, or even
Yeah.
if it's somebody outside of the industry too.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of, from a sales standpoint, there's a whole bunch of different sales groups and stuff like that, and feeds and different stuff like that that you can follow, right? Not only from Challenger training or Millerheim and all that kind of stuff like that. Vince, I still remember you. We still talk about you. Ding, ding, ding. Anybody who's been in his class knows exactly what I'm talking about. From an industry standpoint, I think as you and I've been in the industry for a while now, believe it or not, and I think as you folks that you once worked with, just like your own career, start to go into different areas and do different things and stuff like that. So that network and the people that you know and the folks you're able to reach out to if you need something, or the folks that you pick up the phone for, if they need something, it becomes that whole network becomes larger and larger, right? So I think as far as people that are out there doing interesting things, whew, a lot to name. I mean, besides the folks that I work with, but I mean, um, Simon, I know you're out there. Simon Elliott, I used to work for you directly. Yes, David, you as well too. Simon's doing some interesting things with his whole 4XI group, and I think that's interesting. I think there's other people that are that come from that tree that he is. Matter of fact, You weren't at CIC, but some of you may remember there's an individual looked very young. His name is Peter, who's coming over, who's now part of SHFM. I forget the name of his company. Sorry, Peter. It starts with a K. But very interesting individual, very driven. I think you take a look at not only from an industry standpoint, but from a motivation standpoint. There's too many to name, right, as far as who's out there. But I guess what I would say is find what matters to you, find who you believe in,
Oh,
find folks that give you that inspiration, and then use it. Right? I mean, it's going to be different for everybody, but I think it makes it makes a lot of sense to have that motivation because when I got into operations, the days would go by quickly. Right? So you'd start the day, you'd
mm,
punch in. The whole day would go by quickly. When I got into sales, the weeks went by quickly, right? Because it seemed like everything was just moving faster and stuff. Obviously, deals take longer and all that fun stuff. So, in order to be able to keep yourself going and understand uh, where you need to be and keep inspired, I think you just need to find those right individuals. So,
yeah, Bob, you bring up a good point to really find your people. And these are people that y- y- after a while you get tired of talking about work. Work is amazing, but you need those people that you can talk work industry, but then say, you know what, I'm having a great day, or you know what, I'm having a rotten day. Can I talk to you about it? Like, I think that is so key for really for anybody to have that.
relationships and networking, right? It's like a bank account, right? You have to put
Yep.
into it before you can withdraw, right? So I think it's for the folks that you come up with, for the folks that you, whether you're in the hospitality industry or otherwise, that you work the weekends with, you sweat with, you put in time with, those are the folks that no matter what you're doing, and I've always felt this way, if you're in that circle, no matter what you're doing, you'll figure out a way to pick up a phone or return a phone call, quickly, or even if you're busy, tell them you'll be right back with them and follow through with them because on the flip side, they would do the exact same thing for you.
Yep.
So
Those people you call at 3 a.m. and you tell them what's
no, I,
what, and
I
they're
don't
like,
answer. I don't answer your call
oh.
when you call me at 3 a.m.
Well,
You're not the first.
it's a rotary phone, so I don't appreciate that because I'm it's like a click. That stinks. But let's say hypothetically, the person you call at 3 a.m., you tell them what's what, and they're like, "Okay, I'll drive." Like those are the people that you want. I'm I'm probably getting up at 3 a.m., but I'm not like going to bed at 3 a.m. If it's going to bed about 8 p.m., which is fine. Used to stay up late, not anymore. Um, Yeah, Bob, that's interesting, and really thank you for sharing that. It is a great reminder to have those people,
Yeah.
have that circle as you walk along. Um, I'm going to pause right now and actually ask you if you have any questions for me.
Any questions for you? Well, I mean,
Yeah,
you've been in your role, but also just been out there in, I think what a few of our friends of our calls the alphabet soup for a long time.
yeah,
You, I guess let's talk about associations and all that kind of stuff and the stuff that we do as far as conferences and events and all that kind of stuff like that. It's very easy to see on LinkedIn, all the highlights. You're having
yeah,
fun. Maybe you have a drink in your hand. Maybe you're at a party. Maybe you're at a rooftop. Whatever the case may be, and it's always fun and games, fun and games. That's what everybody sees. There's a lot of work that goes into that, right? And being on all the time and making sure that you're presentable and available and all that kind of stuff like that. How do you keep that going? Because that's not easy to do. I know it fills your cup. You're naturally have that sunshine energy, right? But how do you keep it going?
Oh gosh, I actually a couple. That's a great question, Bob. Thank you.
Oh, I try.
Well, when I'm not at conference, I absolutely do yoga, and my high school buddies are rolling their eyes. But I do hot yoga. Yeah, I do. If they're
Goats,
watching
goats
it,
or no goats? We got goats?
huh?
No, no goats.
Goats? No, no, they would have to get a full grown. I can't do a baby goat, like because I'm big, husky. I like tater tots. Don't say no to Brad. Um, but for me, yoga, like I'm gonna wax poetic, Bob, and I'm not sorry about it. Yoga for me, like hot yoga, it's a set amount of moves, and the great thing about that is you fall out of those moves 100 times during a session during your practice, which is great. It's a great reminder that it's not about perfection, it's about striving for perfection. So I absolutely love that. So I'll do that if I know I'm going to a show like NRA coming up and it's going to be 4, 5, 6 days heavy. I'm going to do a couple rounds of yoga. That'll just get my equilibrium right. Um, just talking to about having friends and people that you can be networking all day, and you may need that one person to either blow off steam or laugh or review the day. To have those people, I encourage anybody, find people that way.
Yep.
um, it's interesting. I was talking to our CFO and describing a day to her, Pam Campbell. We love you. I said, like, describe a day. And I was like, okay, well, I'm getting up at 6 a.m., probably going for a walk. Just to give you an example on a show. And then, the show floor may open at 8, but I'm going to be there at 7:30. We're going to be there all the way through the show that could go to 5. Then it's happy hour, dinner, post dinner, boom, boom, boom. So you can't have a bad day. I mean, you can have a bad day, but you got to be measured. You're there representing. So I love it. It's hard work, but well worth the hard work. So, like, what do I do?
It's a
It's
lot of
yoga.
work. I completely agree.
It's and it's fun, so I don't mind it. And it goes back to culture too, Bob. Like, if I didn't, I feel like I'm kissing Vibro's ring by saying this, but like, and it's true. Like, if I didn't believe in the product and the mission and vision, I wouldn't be
Yeah.
as inclined to really put it out there. And it's really easy to push that forward because it's like I'm representing Shannon Ward and Chris Morisawa and our team if I'm whatever my role is. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's important. Um,
Cool.
and it's fun. It's fun. Um, Gonna do a little pivot, Bob. I
Let's
like
do
to
it.
do that. I'm gonna give you 7 questions. If you get these questions correct, you will win a prize. Bob, is it safe to say you have not
I'm not going to find this
heard
prize in your expense report, am I?
maybe maybe when it says Tahiti or Bora Bora, that is just a hotel. It's not a destination place.
Understood.
$10,000. Yeah. Um, So 7 questions. You get all 7 right, you're going to get a prize. And again, I want to confirm you have not read these.
I have not read the questions. I'm surprised for doing trivia, but I'm up for it. Let's do it.
Okay. Um, okay. Question 1. You see a lot of corporate, and I have to read this. The corporate pictures of people doing the power move like this. Like, that's a CEO or senior leadership look. Do you think this is the question? Do you think that's a shout out to Run DMC, or is it a shout out to like
Mhm.
a glamour shots with the arms? Like, or are they cold? Could they be cold?
They might be cold, but I almost feel like it's like a prom pick. Like, I think back to the one that you and Chris Dajne did it, the first NRA that we did in 2019 together, right? So
Yeah,
I think it's a flashback to their high school years because everybody's trying to relive those years.
that's fantastic. I've done a
Mhm.
prom pick with Jenna Calhoun and Bone Sense, and Julie Meadows from Ohio State. That's a thing. You should always do a prom pick, giving the opportunity. If you find your people who will do a prom pick with you, I think it's worth it. Okay.
Does that count as right? Is that one right?
I'm not going to let you know. I don't want you to get too
Oh, the
high or
suspense.
too low.
Okay, I
Yeah.
understand. I understand.
Sweater vest, or sweater around the neck.
Mm, I
Yeah.
would have to say sweater vest. I think the sweater on the neck,
Okay.
you know, I think in our industry, I think people would throw you in the pool. But
Yeah. How
that's
many sweater vests do you own, Bob?
vests,
Tell the truth. Tell
maybe
the
two
truth.
or
Tell the
three,
truth.
maybe.
Hundred.
I think
Okay.
is it 100? Some puffy, Mrs. Monticello, Mr. Monticello, who are out there. Some of the puffy vests as well too. So because it's getting to be warmer out, so we're going away from Han Solo season, which is the jeans
Uh,
and the vests and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, two or three.
okay. Okay. Well, I'm writing notes. Again, I'm
Mhm.
not going to give you the answer. Um, this is really an open-ended question, so not yes or no. Tell us about a certain clown in the Chicagoland area and a TV show. Can you talk to our guests about that? What may have occurred, and
This The sad part is I hope everyone, if there are people listening, I hope everybody listening even knows who this is. So in the Chicagoland area, there was a show on WGN. It was called the
yep.
Bozo Show, and it was broadcast nationally, whatever it was. And back the year that my brother was born, who's 2 years older than I. My mom put in for tickets, and then when I was 8, um, so 10 years later, we got tickets. I remember this is almost like it's calling full circle. I remember being handed a raffle ticket, and if your raffle ticket got called, you got to go on the grand prize game, right? And everybody got raffle tickets, whoever it was. I remember having a conversation with the guy because I had my sweatpants on, my Velcro shoes, and my '85 Bears T-shirt on, right? Because that's again going back to Bears. So
That sounds like Monday, Bob, for you.
it
Here.
is, it is, it's every Monday. But and then I remember my ticket being called, right? And I got to play the grand prize game and go on. And I made it to bucket number 4 out of 6 or whatever it was, and I got some really cool prizes, Dave. And I got a radio flyer wagon. I think I got a cake from a bakery that was in Chicago, which was only 45 miles away, which makes it very convenient to go pick it up.
45 miles. What was it in Gary,
And,
Indiana?
and a whole bunch of other stuff. So, well, western suburbs. So yeah, so it was a lot of fun. It was there is a videotape that's out there. It shall remain under lock and key, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we were so poor because I the same like you. I would watch Bozo the Clown growing up, but we were so poor. My dad would just make like a makeshift buckets. They weren't uniformed, so
Hmm.
one was like a beer can, one was like a paint bucket, one was a gar. I'm like, but what it did is it created culture. It created I don't know, flavor, I guess, for a child.
Okay.
Okay, well, I took notes on that. All right, next question. Say something nice about me.
Say something nice about you. I think Davin is a very genuine human being. I think he is the type of person that wants to be involved and help out others wherever he can, and he's almost good looking. So there you go.
I'm a solid 5. Solid ish, barely. Okay, it's a 4.5. That's fine. That's fine. At least I'm tall, Bob. At least we're both tall.
There you go.
Um,
We always have that going for us. We can always
yeah.
rely on that.
Um, yeah, which is nice. And this will be the last question. And we had talked about my employee review. Is now a good time to ask for a raise or a title increase? Like here
It's
on the
not.
podcast,
No,
it's
no,
not.
it's not.
It's
No,
not a good
no.
time.
Especially because I don't think we hit 7 questions, so I don't really think you want me to do my review because I think we're only at 4. So I
Yeah.
think we have. It's a good thing you're not in accounting. That's all I gotta
Math is
say.
overrated. And everyone of you, I'm kidding. That is not a question. Yeah. Do not hold me accountable. Andrea, do not call me later today. Anyway. Um, so we're gonna kind of go full circle, Bob. We're gonna stop at 4 because that's all I had. I thought I had
All
7.
right.
So again, um, so this weekend, any other events you're gonna be walking the show floor? Any events you're going to that you're
Tomorrow,
looking forward to?
thank you to Amy Franks, right, going out to the military awards dinner at the Palmer House. So that'll
Oh
be
yeah.
great. I think always a great headliner, great speaker, very inspiring. But also you get to see what folks that actually put in the work and defend this country and do a lot to make sure that we're able to get on things like this and be idiots. So I think we're able to get in front of those folks. And if you remember from 2 years ago, David, there's actually a funny story on that. If you want, I'll tell the story. I mean,
Bob, I would love nothing more because this story has given me so much traction and brought me so much joy over the years. So, my friend, the floor is yours.
thank you, David. So
Yeah.
David invited me 2 years ago to the NRA, was it the Education Foundation? They had the
Yeah.
luncheon
Yeah.
that was going on, and David had classes in the morning. I met him there for the luncheon. We went to the luncheon, and then we were going to the dinner, much like I am tomorrow, going to the dinner. So we were sitting at a table with myself, David, Shane Varnum, a couple other folks, and bunch of people from the industry and some folks we didn't know, and they were asking us different things about Chicago and where they should go for pizza and where they should go for this and where they should go for that. And then they start talking about hot dogs. So we start, of course, I'm going to tell them from a pizza standpoint, you got to go to Lou Malnati's. It's just, in my opinion, it's a no-brainer. From
Yep.
a hot dog standpoint, you got to go to Gina Jude's because that's off of River Road. That's just what it comes down to. And then we started talking about different things to get on their pizza and what they can go, and they're mapping it out and stuff like that. And then they started talking about putting ketchup on a hot dog. And I looked at the guy and I said, dude, you don't put ketchup on a hot dog. I said, you're in Chicago, you're going to get killed. What are you talking about? And basically started giving this guy a hard time for, don't know, 5 or 10 minutes about putting ketchup on a hot dog, right? And everybody's laughing, having fun. And the guy's like, whoa, whoa, settle down, just having fun.
And
And obviously, I wasn't getting animated, but I was having fun with him, right?
Bob,
So
I feel like I said, did your mom, like, as a baby, pick you up, drop you on your head, then pick you
yeah,
up and drop you in your head? Like, but we were also
we,
reading the room.
we were having some fun, right? Everybody was laughing. It was all in good fun. But
It was all good fun.
fast
Yeah.
forward 5, 6 hours later, we're at the
Yep.
military awards dinner. And David and I are sitting at the SHFM foundation table that David used to be the chair for. And lo and behold, who gets up to give the keynote speech is the individual that we were giving crap to about putting ketchup on his hot dog. So
Full hour.
as soon as we see him, David and I kind of look at each other like, well, that's weird that this guy's up there giving a speech, and then we find out who he is. The leader of SEAL Team 6 that was actually out there and on the hunt for Bin Laden was at the raid, not the individual who took him out, but was at the raid. So this guy could have basically killed me with his thumb, and here I am giving him crap about using ketchup on his hot dog. But you
Right.
never know
Like,
who you're going to meet in the hospitality industry. So there you go.
I feel like I said, be more of a man. Like, oh, okay. Yeah. He's the kind of guy that can show up in the middle of the night. You'll be in heaven before you won't even wake up. Um, I,
He was
and
a good sport. I got
he
a good
was
picture with
such a
him
good,
after his speech.
yeah.
He was a good sport about it. He was laughing. So
And I'm convinced he knows who he is, and he also knows who the two of us were. Meaning,
yes,
like, he
yeah,
didn't
he's
need to flex for that. Yeah, yeah. I just scaled a high rise, to get a bad guy. I'm like, okay, well, I stubbed my toe walking out of my hotel room, so I
there you
feel
go.
like we're on equal
Going to
playing
hot
ground
yoga. Yep,
there.
exactly.
Namaste. Yes. Um, Bob, we're getting close to the end. I didn't have any more questions. Anything else on your mind? I always like to keep it open. Anything you want to talk about that we didn't cover? Like,
No, I think no, I appreciate the time. I always appreciate having a conversation with you. We would be remiss if we didn't bring up that hopefully any of the folks that are going to SHFM, not to plug one association over any of the other ones, but they do participate in Hunger Games. If you do have a charitable arm of whatever group you're a part with, give back, right, and make sure
yep,
that you're doing your part to help those folks in need. So I would say that. I would say I am really looking forward, besides Beyonce, right? I am really looking forward to everything else that's going to be taking place this weekend. There's a Beyonce concert going on at Soldier Field for those of you who don't know. So downtown is going to be a madhouse. Um, but it's not only just because what we do at Vivra with our rooftop event at the Virgin Hotel, but also because you get to connect with folks in an atmosphere that's a lot of fun. It's unassuming. Nobody's looking to bring contracts and sign deals. And if something happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it's great. You're there to connect and make sure that you're filling your cup with the networking and connecting with the folks that matter to you. Not only folks within the industry, but also our own team. We have a good amount of team members that went last year, folks that are coming this year. So that's really what I'm looking forward to.
yep. I love it, Bob. Yeah, for me, a gold and silver plate FES awards. Dealer of the Year is going on. FCSI event. The breakfast SHFM. There's so much going on for us. And you're right, networking, you can gain so much, and these are the nuggets you take back to your companies in your office throughout the year. And it's the
And
relationships.
you're walking the show floor this year, right? You're going to be
Yes,
out there a
yeah.
couple days, right?
Yeah. We're if you want to get on TV, I'm gonna have a camera. We're gonna be doing some stuff there. I have some surprises too. That just goes back to if I can make Bob laugh, and it's within reason, it'll totally make you laugh. So that's what I'm looking to do. But also looking to really understand what people are looking for in the industry and what they're excited about while being in Chicago.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, Bob, we're gonna wrap up. I will say we're going into the weekend. It's a crosstown classic. Go Cubs! I know I can speak for you when I say that. I hope we sweep the Sox. No offense, but total offense to our Sox
Now we got the
fans.
Crosstown Classic, so we got the Cubs and Sox
Yeah.
games. We've got Beyonce. We've got the restaurant show.
Yep.
So leave early, park, and don't move is what it comes down to.
Yeah. All the single ladies. Uh, uh, uh. See what I did there? That was no.
I
I'll
did see what you did there.
and
I'm just
scene.
I'm just letting it go.
That's where you start sliding back. Like, don't make eye contact with them, or they'll keep singing. Um, which is a perfect way to end. I want to read this quote, Bob, and it encompasses and encapsulates our friendship and our relationship over the years. Um, and Charlie Chaplin said this: "A day without laughter is a day wasted." And every day I get to spend with you and work with you is normally full of laughter. So thank you for that. Thank you for bringing that levity. Thank you for your time today, Bob. It's been an absolute blast talking to you and hanging out and you know sharing our story. It's been super great.
I feel the same way. Thank you for having me on and being one of the many guests that you've had on, and the more prominent guests that came before me, right? So the different industry titans that you've had on. So thank you for
Yep.
allowing me to come onto this, for welcoming me into your home, David, today, and having this session together. So,
Anytime,
thanks.
Bob. You're always welcome, brother.
All right, my man.
All right. That is it. Rock and roll, everyone. We'll see you in Chicago in a couple days. All right. See you, Bob.
Take care.